answer to shut people up in the late 1940s after Roswell and a couple of other incidents. That's all it was. They put 4 or 5 people on a panel to try to explain away most of the reportings, and they only looked at like 2,000. And then Blue Book was shut down. And then they did this study in Colorado, I think University of Colorado Boulder, maybe. Somewhere up in Colorado, they did this big study where the scientists, these PhDs, went into it knowing they were going to try to disprove any evidence that UFOs were extraterrestrial in nature. And they did. So the government has been swatting at this idea that there are UFOs that are very unusual in their size, speed, and behavior. They've been swatting at it for almost 100 years now. And I don't see why. I mean, if you look at UFO history and you go way back, you can go back to the 1800s. You could go back to the time of, who was it? Who am I thinking of? There was Alexander. He actually reported silver shields in the air. And you can see it in biblical era paintings and postings and people reporting fireballs in the sky, and it wasn't always just like meteorites. Some of them, you often see references to shiny silver metallic once that was an understood description. So there's something going on, but for all I know, I mean, my gut says that it could very easily be something interdimensional that we do not understand. Or it could be something as simple as probes from another planet, because you know the likelihood of life throughout the universe is ridiculously high. And if you use the Drake equation, it shows something like 10,300 intelligent life forms in our galaxy alone, just in our galaxy. And I think the Drake equation is onto something. If you just look at the odds and the hospitable zones and what it takes to make life and then time to evolve and the likelihood that they haven't destroyed themselves yet, and you put all that together, you can come up with some guesstimates. But what we really need is to find life on another planet and then find intelligent life on another planet, not just cellular life. And once we do that, then we could say, okay, now we've got something to work with. We've seen 430 planets that we've examined fairly closely. We finally found one with intelligent life on it, besides our own. Now we can start to put some odds together. So far our odds are 2 planets in 431 are going to have life and or intelligent life on them. So then you can really start getting more specific from there, but you're still using inference and uncertain math, but at least it's something. So we have to find that one planet. That's going to make a huge difference. That first planet we can get to that has cellular life, the first planet we can get to or at least witness that has, you know, a mature, semi-mature, intelligent life on it, I think that's going to be what cracks the egg open. And then we can get people to stop pointing at UFO reports and say they're crazy. It could be something as simple as probes. You know, I could very easily see probes coming out from civilizations that might have been on the brink of destruction. And they were looking for, I don't know, food sources or anything else. Who knows what would motivate an entirely different species that's intelligent? Who knows? Aaron wants to get back to exterminating ISIS. No more aliens. Okay. Selective conspiracy theorizing. Well, here's what I do with conspiracy theories. I look at the ones that have solid evidence. And, you know, if I hear 3 people say JFK was shot by a dude in the grassy knoll, and 2 of those people have been found guilty of laundering money before they ever made that claim, so I've got one guy, and then I compare that to over 200 pilots and astronauts saying they've had very specific UFO experiences in the sky that could not be explained by nature or man's technology. That's 2 very different stories you're asking me to deal with there. And I'm going with the ones that have the evidence. The ones that have the evidence are the ones I give some credibility to. But I think most conspiracy theories sell well. They're fun. They're mythical in a lot of cases. And I have yet to see evidence for anything that's a major conspiracy theory outside of the existence of UFOs as a form that's unnatural to our knowledge right now, whether that's advanced technology or extraterrestrial. So, you know, I'm just picky on my evidence. Stop calling things conspiracy theories. Well, you know the definition of conspiracy theories, and that means that there's some blanket of people out there trying to hide it from everybody else. So, I mean, odd theories that just haven't been proven. I wouldn't call that a conspiracy theory. Some of the shit you see on the ancient astronaut theories that, you know, on like the History Channel, that stuff can get pretty wacky. And who the fuck is that fucking Greek dude with the hair? That nigga just came out of the salon and had an accident. What is up with him? I'm just telling you that these aliens are what gave birth to modern man. Because I've got the proof, and the proof is a gyro. Or a hero, depending on where you're from. But you are loading things with your own premise, Kev. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do have my angle. I was saying earlier in the show, Aaron, that I am biased. We all are. And you're biased based on your education, your DNA, your chemical makeup, and your experiences. This is what makes you. And then you start to form your beliefs. And I try to keep mine, when it comes to stuff that has to do with science and even conspiracy theories, lined up as closely as possible with what evidence supports. Because if you don't do that, if you don't have some kind of personal doctrine of adhering to evidence or the need of evidentiary proof for your claims, you're going to believe in anything. And I don't want to live in that reality where I have such trouble telling fiction from nonfiction. I want to be able to know what's real, and then I can go play in my fantasy land. And there are too many people in the world, I think, just based on shit like the news report I played earlier, that do not know the difference between reality and fiction and have no idea which chainmail was correct and which was a lie. You know, and this leads into conspiracy theory type thinking, the common psychology that requires a man to believe that there is something at work against him at all times around every corner. And, you know, our government, like in America, our government wants two things from you. They want your money, and they want to control you, keep you contained. That's all. There's no dark agency out there looking to hide every possible exciting secret from you. And when I see some of these conspiracy theories, when you get into numerology and 9/11 and these secret organizations, it just seems silly to me. It's like, yeah, these organizations exist, but they're not secret. If they were secret, you wouldn't be talking about them. So game over. They're not secret organizations anymore. If you've got proof they exist, they're real. If you don't have proof, I have no reason to believe they are real. Well, I was at a camp one weekend, and I heard a man next to me say that the Brothers of the Ice were taking over the world. They were working with the banking industry, and they were working with the Fed, and they're going to make sure that we're all slaves to the cause. And they're going to back up FEMA trucks and load us in and take us to camps, and then take all our guns, and then reel us up the ass with a lamppost, because that's how you keep control. Okay, let me see your evidence. Oh, your evidence is that you heard some guy say this at a camp, you think, one night when you were drinking? That's not going to do it for me, my nigga. I need something a little more concrete than that. Yeah, that's just me. Rick says, we have been brainwashed into believing everything is a conspiracy theory by design. They are actually just conspiracies. When there is any evidence, no matter how small it is, it's no longer a theory. That's right. Anything that still says theory just means it hasn't been proven yet. So now if it has a heavy-duty amount of evidence, like, in my opinion, the Big Bang Theory, you can start to put some faith in that. You can start to say, I can see how this happens with chemistry and physics and everything else. But when it's just a couple of guys saying it that don't really have a strong reputation for truth, or you don't know anything about them, you need more than that, folks. Require as much for your beliefs as a court of law would require to put somebody in prison. Require at least that much to prove something to you. And then if you want to get even more stringent, like I believe I am, get more stringent. But anyway, I'm getting ready to go because my voice is gone. It's been fun doing a show. It was a snow day here. A big, fat, ugly snow day in southeastern Virginia. Nobody got to go anywhere. And my lovely fiance went out to the store earlier walking. Now, we only live about a half a mile from the store, but in this snow, she went out and kind of did the Yeti thing. You know, she's not a big lady, but, you know, with the coat on and all, and people, you know, were poking fun at her. It's the Yeti. Is their name Betty the Yeti? Ha ha ha. Because people aren't that funny in my town, so they say things like that, which is okay. I'm not picking on them, but no, she went out to the store walking and got us some stuff, and she's got this little Hyundai Elantra. So it's like 4 inches ground clearance on this thing. So, she's got to go somewhere later, and I'm going to be out there pushing with my fucking question mark looking spine and my upside down Hebrew U for a knee. And it's going to look like somebody getting robbed by a car. Can you imagine that in your mind? Someone getting robbed by a car. You're trying to run, but you can't. Oh, they got you. Now they're taking your wallet, and you're smacking out. Don't take my wallet. But they got your wallet because they're stronger than you. That's what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to look like when I go out there. It's been good having you guys come to the chat room. I appreciate it. Make sure to check out Rick, Baby Jesus. The SansNet network may or may not still be intact, but you'll find them. Aaron, who comes to us from the UK and who is a proponent of typical conspiracy theories, and I'm sure he has his own evidentiary requirements, and I'm going to respect those. Apocalypse, who stirs shit up at every turn, but also finds himself serving as the ambassador of Spreaker and the fucktardian refugee of Spreaker. Yeah. And who else did we miss here? I know I had more A's. Andrew, my favorite Australian, who runs shit on that side of the world. And you know this, man. We had RD earlier. We had Barco creating some havoc in the chat room. Very little by comparison, but some still. And next time, I don't know what we'll talk about. Maybe we'll talk... I was thinking about talking about, like, when they killed the babies in Sparta. Like throw them off the cliff. Because don't we still do that in a way? I think we do. I'll leave you with that thought. We still do that in a way. Yeah, we don't like them if they're not strong and perfect. We throw them off the cliff. He's on Fuck You Network now. That's right. Rick Sands is on Fuck You Network. And isn't there a Jay Sands too? Or are these brothers? I don't know all the details. Apocalypse knows everything about Spreaker people. So it's looking like Spreaker. Okay. I think it's Sands Network. You guys can find it. Just look it the fuck up. You'll see Rick. He's got a picture of Jesus as his avatar. And he's going to break it down Barney style for you up in the Michigan. And Michigan is where my high school football coach is from. He actually played for U of M, I believe, as a fullback. Steve Griffith. He was an awesome football coach. He lives out in Carolina now, I think. Anyway, so it's not Rick Sands. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Who's Rick Sands then? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with these names. All right, hold on. We have to correct this because I'm not going to leave a man named the wrong name here. So Rick is who? Rick is who? Who? Do you have anything to do with the Sands Network? It's just Rick on the Fuck You Network. Okay. So where did I get Sands from? I thought Apocalypse told me you were a Sands person. Well, I know there was a show called this. I thought it was Rick Sands. I got that shit all wrong. So you guys, you're used to a certain level of failure anyway from this show. So, so what? We're back down to average. We're back down to doing what we normally do with the failures. That's life. That's life. This is a podcast. This is my hobby. This is what I do when I don't feel like running over to my neighbor's house and smacking it with my bolo balls. What packy? What pack-a-pack? Did you feel that? Did you feel that? Huh? Yeah, you got hit. You got hit with the balls. Okay, folks, well, I do appreciate you coming today, and I hope you enjoyed the show. For those of you that are still snowed in, fuck you. I don't care. Stay snowed in. This is nature. It does what it does. And since I know you're going to deal with that, I'm going to let you go as I go deal.